Blessed be he, master and savior of all eternity. Long live the King. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Blessed be he. This is the day that the Most High has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. You've given us the resurrection power, and we will use it throughout the rest of the day. How about that? All praise to the Most High. Reign, King, eternal, reign, and your power and your splendor and your might. Hallelujah. This is Barbs. I just want to say hello. Thank you all for letting everyone know that Barbs Health Corner is alive and well. We are here. I'm looking for my, I'm going to take my clothes out of my mouth tonight so I can talk this morning, today. There. You know me, family, I gotta have I don't mean to be vulgar, but you know me, I keep something in my mouth. Clothes is my friend. And fennel is your friend too. Hallelujah. And don't forget your burdock family. Let everyone know Barbs Health Corner is live and well. And I'm so glad that you came to the class today. Now, we might just give you a little quiz at the end of the class. And we'll see whether you have been listening all these many years. Well, not years, but months and a little over a year. But we'll see. Hallelujah to the King. Let my babies know. I say shout out to my baby in Mississippi. You know, girl, I love you. Shouts out to my unidentified she brews. Shout out to my babies in Cleveland, Ohio. Your Mima think you're wonderful. Mwah, on both those cheeks. I love you too much. Shout out to my babies here in Missouri and all about this Midwest. Shout out to all of you. I bless the Father for you. Thank you for allowing me to come into your homes, into your hearts. You make me and the Father look so good. And I praise Him for you, that you would trust me with your heart. Let's start off with something today. Now, I want to say this. I want to shout out to Brother Jacob. Tell you I appreciate all that you do. And my favorite teacher, Brother Daniel Solomon. I bless the Father for you all. All praise to the Most High. And Tobias, that swordsman, who helps me all the time. All praise them. And all of my family all over the world. Thank you for coming in. I just give praise to the Most High for you. You're a blessing to me. Don't stop coming, because you're the ones that are the reason why I'm here today. So, and we know YouTube don't give I found out, just a side note, I found out YouTube don't give out whenever we come online.
Notifications.
They don't give the notifications on time.
Yes, ma'am.
What is with that?
I have not slept. See, they've been doing that for a while now.
Y'all been doing what's wrong. But that's okay. We on there anyway, and we're going to help the people. Hallelujah. So, guess what we're going to talk about some things that my babies have asked me. Question?
Sharon Asprey says, Shalom, be my shout out from Alabama.
Shout out, Alabama. I love you guys. All praise to the Most High to you and for you. Alabama in the house. All praise. I love you. All praise. Today, guess what? Alabama, Mississippi, guess what? First of all, we're going to talk about something, but let me tell you about this thing. We're going to talk about some people were telling me, asking me different questions about what they my baby, I'm not going to say where you are or anything like that, but we're saying that she can sleep and rest at night, and what could she use and sleep by. So we're going to give some questions and some answers about some of these things. But before we get started, guess what we're drinking today, fam? We're drinking burdock. Let me let y'all see it. And we put a little coconut milk in there, more coconut. Hi, Naomi. Emma, I love you. I love it. This is our burdock. It's what we call our coffee. It's the burdock, a little bit of chicory, a little chickweed, just a little bit more burdock than anything. Cinnamon, and we put coconut cream in here. Looks real good, and it tastes like coffee. And remember when you look up the other classes where we talked about how burdock does the kidneys and the liver and the belly, and it helps you flush off some of the toxins out, and mixed with chicory. Baby, that's what we're drinking today. And it's going to boost our immune system. We want to clean our systems out a little bit of time. Remember, every day, the processed foods do not cleanse your lymphatic system. Processed foods don't do that. Herbal foods, your green leafy vegetables, your roots, your herbs, your spices, cleanse. A lot of them do that like burdock do. Burdock and dandelion tea. Family, now ladies, you are going to want to do your burdock. Don't forget your burdock during that time of the month, the menses burdock tea. So that's what we're drinking today. And make it taste really good because this is our coffee. Tobias said it tastes real good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
And it's good for men now. Let me tell you all this. Before we get started, this is good for men. It's good for the prostate. If men are having little deficiencies in that particular area, ladies, you can give him a little burdock, and it helps with that too. A little burdock. I'm just saying, you all, we're gonna go on the next. We'll wait till Tobias' ears are kind of not good, and we'll talk. What is the word I'm saying? What is the word? Look up your email bar, and we'll talk a minute. What's the word I'm looking for? Not look up, but look up your email bar. What is that? Y'all, what is it?
Email or Google.
Check. Talk with me later. Y'all know how to get in touch with me, and we'll talk about the burdock for the men, and how it cleanses. So, family, today, and don't forget during this time, I brought you all something. Now, this is what I wanted you all to see. Don't forget, I've been telling you all about your mishwak stick. This is a mishwak stick. This is licorice root. And what it does, this is a mishwak stick. Not only does it cleanse the teeth, it helps. You all know, I'm gonna tell you all what I did the other day. Something real crazy. My teeth are really strong, but I sew from time to time, and I mix things together. And I went and I thought, oh, I'm just gonna pull this out. Now I know better. I'm in my 60s. I know better. Pulling out my needle from my material with your mouth. My grandma used to tell me all the time, don't use your mouth, use your hands. Don't use your mouth, and pull, and I kind of chipped my little tooth almost a little bit, pulling out, but this makes it really strong. I'm telling you all, it's the mishwak stick. So if you all see anything, now when it gets a little bit safer, when the people can go in my mouth, we're gonna have this taken care of. But until then, do your mishwak stick, your licorice root. This is something good. I brought that so you all can see what it looks like, fam. Can you see it from here? Mm-hmm. This is what, now this is on, they grow.
It would be better if you had it outside of plastic.
Okay, let me pull it out of the plastic. Now they grow longer than this, family. This is, they grow really long.
And thicker sometimes.
And we got yes. They, big as my finger, family. This is licorice root, mishwak stick. This is what it looks. I just broke it off. So it looks like a stick. If you, when my girlfriend, when grandma was walking through and she'd be doing a little work or whatever outside, she'd be gardening and stuff like that. And she had this stick in her mouth. Girlfriend, why you always got a stick in your mouth? This is my chewing stick, she used to call it, my chewing stick. Now, she was in her 90s. I was telling Tobias that when even she was in her 90s, now I'm going to show you all the waistline of my grandmother when she was in her 90s. You got it, Tobias? Mm-hmm. And she would have this in her mouth, and she'd be just chewing on it, everything. And I'm showing you all the waistline of my mama, of my girlfriend. My grandmother's waistline used to be like this. Let me show you. Like this. That was, and she was in her 90s. Used to be like this. holla mama. You know, before they even turned, grandma was in her 90s with a waistline like this. What? Girlfriend was built. They used to try to holler at her. She'd say, I got my grandbabies with me. I got my grandbabies with me. And all that, but I'm telling you, I'm just saying. Family, if you take care of your body, it will take care of you. You gotta listen, and I say this all the time. You gotta listen to your body, and your body will tell you what you can. And 9 out of 10, your body will tell you, stop eating the processed foods. Stop doing that but story for another time. But let me say this to you. When I was younger, I used to, I was telling Tobiah earlier, I was younger and I used to want to, I would say, I want to be able to tell the young people how to heal their own bodies and what you can eat that's natural and what you would eat that would keep you immune system. I was in my 20s and now here I am in my 60s. And I'm not ashamed to tell you all this. And now I have the opportunity, all praise to the Most High, to be able to share this over 40 years later. And I used to say, I'm going to put in the newspapers to tell you about I said, I'm going to put in the newspapers and tell the young people, don't eat that plain rice. Eat the long rice. Long rice, once it's cooked, looks so cute. Like my grandbaby said, it looks so cute. Long rice, when it's cooked the proper way, it is so cute. The long rice, not the Chinese rice that you get from the Chinese place. Right. I'm talking the real long rice. It looks so cute but anyway, story for another time. But I used to say I will always want, and now I have the opportunity. So thank you, ladies, and thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, my Hebrew brothers and sisters and my babies, for allowing me to come into your home to teach you these things for over 40 years later. But don't forget your chamomile tea. Helps you at night, helps you sleep. Don't look at the brand. Don't look at the brand because this says herbal infusion. But it came from pure chamomile though. So this is real cheap and easy. I just got this from Dollar Tree. They have it, and instead of just using one, put 2 in a cup, and because it's infused, it didn't say it's the real root. So here's the infused. And also, don't forget your peppermint. Good for your stomach, pregnant mommies. And this is also infused. This is just something that they have at the dollar store. And sometimes Dollar Tree would have natural good stuff in it. But it just goes under the radar, which is good for us. But this is just peppermint. And those that are like me, family, I'm going to give some of the peppermint, because peppermint in our backyard grows like a weed. So I told you all about that story about how my next door neighbors are with their little children. They have little sticky fingers, but it's okay because it grows like a weed and it grows around and they just help themselves. Now that we showed them what it was and what it does. So when they have the stomach problems or when mommy was pregnant and all these type of things, they would do the peppermint. And it is wonderful. Another herb that's good for the body. And it also boosts your immune system. It'll boost your immune system. And we're talking about these things that fight viruses. We're talking these things that fight viruses. Do you know there's so many different types of viruses, not just this corona thing, and I know I'm going to watch my words, but this type of thing, this little virus has come up, it's comprised of different other viruses, and it's one of those things that once it's comprised, because the virus itself is dead. And they found this virus which killed over so many millions of people and a while back. And they brought this, and can you imagine somebody wants to take the DNA and make reproduce the DNA of dinosaurs and all that kind of stuff? But it's a story for another time. But anyway, these are herbs, family, that I'm going to talk to you all about that will help your DNA repair. We're into repairing, healing, restoring your DNA and bringing it back to the purpose, to place where it should be. Your email loves you, and this is why I'm here for you. But let me finish telling you before I get any further. Family, another thing Tobiah and I are taking place with, and you say, Ema, this is a salad, girl. This is what we start. Someone asked me, Ema, what do you start off with in the morning when you break your fast, which is breakfast, breaking the fast? What do you start off with? I start off, of course, my cayenne pepper tea. And then I do, you all know my routine. Of course, I do my lemon, turmeric, ginger with distilled water. And I do that with my little honey in it. And I put a little bit of black pepper. You know, I do my peppercorn and draw that back because peppercorn is good for the with turmeric because it acts as a catalyst. And I'll drink that when I go to the next thing, and I make sure my lemon, my lime. Listen, don't forget, lime is an excellent alkaliner. Lime is the highest, on the highest end of the alkaline. Don't forget that. But I just put a swig of, I don't want it to tilt over too far. This is a little bit of lime in there. We've got olives. We've got the big things you see are cucumbers. We have onions. Is that good?
Yes, ma'am.
We've got some cucumbers in there. We have olives. We have onions. You know I love cucumbers. I told you all about that. There's parsley in there. There's arugula. There is, what do we say? Arugula, a little spinach. This is kale. We love kale. And we have a lot of, what else do we say, Tobiah? We got arugula. Swiss,
Radidio and Swiss chard.
Radidio and Swiss chard. This is what my breakfast, when I break fast, this is what it looks like.
And you said olives, right?
Yeah, we said olives. So this is what it looks like when I break a fast. Oh, spirulina.
That's right. And hummus.
And hummus. I love hummus. Sesame seeds is in here. This is what when I break fast, this is what it looks like. So, and you say, Ema, that's enough, that's a dinner. No, it's just my breakfast when I break fast sometimes. And sometimes I'll put a little turmeric in there. And don't forget your black pepper. A little bit of black pepper in there. And dill. Did I say dill?
No, you didn't.
I'll put a little dill in there, and dill is in here. All these things that's gonna boost your immune system, it's a great. And somebody said, Ema, you can put it in a shape. You can put it in a blender and blend it up and drink it. But I just like to chew it. But it's the root.
It's on whichever way you prefer. You're still taking the same
Still,
nutrients and minerals.
still do exactly. So Tobiah, I'm gonna let you have some of this.
Okay.
And you can be eating on some while you record it.
Thank you, Mom. Appreciate it.
And family, I'm gonna show you another little example of what I'm talking about. Oh, Tobias, show them the salad
Picture the salad.
that we did this past Shabbat. Let me bring it. You got it?
I'm gonna zoom out from in here. Put it right in front.
This is the kind of salad that we eat. You say, Ema, when you eat stuff like that, you don't want no processed food. You're right. It's just like my body saying, I need green stuff. I tell you what, one day I wasn't eating, I was with Mr. and, well, I didn't eat what I normally do. And my body was like, kept going into something like, why are we not getting any greens? Where are the green leafy vegetables? Where are the green leafy vegetables? And my body was going through these type of things, and I was like, what is going on? Why am I feeling indifferent? I knew I had everything else, but I didn't do. And it dawned on me the next day. I'm like, oh, I didn't have my green leafy vegetables. My body was saying, girl, you must be tripping. What is the deal with you today? And so I'm just telling you, these are some things that I eat for my babies who said to me, Ema, what do you eat during the run of a day? And so I just wanted you all to see. This is some of the things that your Ema be eating. And a lot of these things, family, is good for the skin. Did you know olives? Oh man, I want you all to go and check out what olives do. Ooh, we're going to talk about that. That's a story for another time. Olives will do so many things for the body. So for my baby, and oh, I didn't show the lemongrass.
Oh, you sure did.
They wanted to, there was another baby that wanted to see, she says, Ema, what is lemongrass? She said, I hear you make lemongrass tea. What does lemongrass look like? I'm gonna get to the point in the summertime, fam, the Father allow me to, where I'll be able to grow some lemongrass. This is just packaged. And it looks like this, just like tall grass, and you cut the root off, and then it grows tall. Let me show you how tall it grows. And this is not even a third of how tall it grows. And it smells wonderful. Once you boil it and everything and make it out of the tea, it's wonderful. Just cut it, clean it off. And remember, look at the other classes where we talked about lemongrass and the benefits of eating lemongrass. Indian people eat lemongrass, family. And I'm just answering certain questions that you all asked me when you Gmailed me and when you asked questions about different things and what they look like. So these are some things that Ema does. And it's good, ladies, if you want to help lose a little bit of weight, you can drink a little lemongrass, and it pulls and tightens that certain place that you want tight. Not only that part, but it also gets rid of a lot of water weight. But don't go overboard. Remember, respect respect your spices, respect your herbs, respect them. But you don't want to go overboard. But these are just some things that help during this summer, and you want to just get rid of some of the water weight, and you want to help your muscles. This is good also for muscles. And it keeps the pain and all that things away. So I'm just giving some examples of some of the herbs that you all were asking about, and some of the things that we were talking about earlier in some of the chats, and some of the things that you all emailed me about. Now, family, we're going to get to something really quickly today, and we're going to talk about, family, now for my other baby that asked me about what do I spray in the room to get rid of. Now, look at some of the other episodes, and we talked about how to spray and different things that will kill viruses and bacteria in the room. We talked about that, but just so that you're aware, some of the things that we've done down here, and we're gonna spray some more as people begin to come in for them. And remember, we talked about cinnamon, and I told you about my very special bottle, a little bit of cinnamon with cloves. It's hot and it's spicy, but it works. It kills viruses and it kills bacteria. It kills different germs. You can spray this in your bedroom. You can spray it out and things like that. Some people do geranium, which is really good. And you know, we've been known to, that's why they spray a lot of geranium in the bathrooms. Be careful, because don't forget about the olive pits. A lot of people use geranium and they put it in their bathroom, and they say it smells good and it keeps it alive. But one of the reasons why they use the geraniums, and that is because it does kill viruses. What? Yes, in your bathrooms. It kills viruses, bacteria, infections, and things like that. So you can put a little geranium, you can put a little camphor in there, and mix it in and shake it up ferociously about 20 times, just so that it's really mixed. And there was one other, geranium, camphor, it'll come to me. And you can mix those in, but the cinnamon and cloves are those things. You can also take a little bit of white vinegar, family. If you have issues with mold, we were talking about the mold issue, and these are just some things that are coming up too. With the mold, you could just take, you know what you could do? Here's the thing. You could do white vinegar, and I know when I say vinegar, a lot of people say, oh, I can't stand vinegar. I'm sorry, but it works. You could take a little bit of vinegar, and you could take that vinegar and white vinegar, and add a little, if you want to, you can do with or without, a little salt, because salt will stop or inhibit the growth of any viruses and bacteria and stuff like that. So when we're in my car sometimes, and I remember that before they gave us, and before I began to make more of my hand sanitizers, and that's the story for the next time, we'll talk about that soon. You all hook me up, remind me to talk about some of the what you can use for hand sanitizers. But I was telling my daughter-in-law, shout out to Texas, I love you guys. Mwah. Your Nana loves you. But I was telling them about, if you don't want any of these things to dry your hands out and to dry you out, what you can do is take a little salt water and about a tablespoon and put it in a bottle like this size, if you want, about this size, or you can do half the size and put it in distilled water. Remember, distilled water is the most purest waters you can get. But put in that and then shake it up. And then when you go to handle at the pumps, spray your hands. And when you finish, before you do it and after you do it. And it is a good hand sanitizer if you don't want to use it. And then when you get an opportunity, then put some lotion, some moisturizer on your hands. And we'll talk about the type of moisturizer you can use. And these are just natural herbs and spices you can use as a moisturizer. So we're going to talk about that. And then also, I'll start to tell you all about the mold. So what you do, you can take the white vinegar, and because it's an acid, remember it's acidy, the white vinegar is more acidy. And so what it'll do, it kills it, and with the salt, you can spray it on a mold, and it kills the mold. It dries it up. That's how you can tell when you see the black stuff that's in your room or your bathroom or around, and you say, in the basement and things like that, and you see them, you say, because a lot of these allergies, family, are from mold. When you're stiff, mold. When you're having headache and fogginess and right on down the line, check your homes to see if there's any mold. And that's why we keep things going, like we keep different herbs and spices that kill mold and bacteria, all that, we keep it, in our home, so it keeps going infused in our home. A lot of times we'll do that. We'll do like cinnamon, like I said, cinnamon and or clove. Or drop in there. You can spray you can spray around. You can, before you go to bed at night, you can spritz your room. Remember we talked about that, spritz your room and make sure there's when you say babies or young people, you say they wake up at night. One of the questions that you guys asked me was they had a one of your babies woke up at night and they come out with an irritation in their throat, or they have filled with mucus, or they come up with headaches, or they can't sleep at night. Family, check your mold in the home to make sure there's no mold. So one of the things you can do is you can spritz a little bit of white vinegar and dilute it. If you use a capful, or if you use like a third of a cup of white vinegar to just say a quart of water, shake it up really good and spritz it in the air. And that's one of the ways you can do. If you don't have the bay leaves, and you said, I ran out of bay leaves. Oh man, well guess what? You can use a little bit of, and always keep a little vinegar, white vinegar, apple cider vinegar around, but the white vinegar would kill the mold. And if just for that time, and all around, just spritz that. Or if you have a little bank, did I say it right? A little bank. And what you can do is put a little, like we said, a little cinnamon, eucalyptus. You can spread a little eucalyptus. That's what I was trying to think of. You can do the camphor, the geranium, and eucalyptus. And you can shake it up really good in about this much water. Shake it up, make sure it's really shaken really well, and then you spritz. Now every time you use it, make sure you shake it, because oil and water really won't mix. So you can do it that way. One of my things I'm going to ask, one of the questions that was asked on the Gmail, one of my babies were asking, Imam, I'm having issues with sleeping at night and right on down the line. And what is the deal? What's going on with that? What can I do? So today I had some other things going on, but I'm going to talk about the health and benefits of baths and soaks and some of the things. And one of the things we're going to talk about, and that is Epsom salt. People say, you know what, I should invest in some Epsom salt because we go through Epsom salt all the time. We go through a lot of Epsom salt. Epsom salt, let me tell you all, this is one of the different salts. You said, what different kind of salt? There are so many different types of salts. Now look at one of the previous episodes where we talked about different salts, and you'll see some of the things that we talked about. Another one of the things that I want to talk about, Epsom salt, and it's called Dead Sea salt. Dead Sea salt. It spells just the same. Now, it used to be a time, now there are a plethora of different salts, but this is the days that we're going to talk about this today, okay? Now, it's a plethora of things, about 30, 40 things that Epsom salt itself will do to the body. You know what? Epsom salt will even help the brain tissues. I almost forgot. Family, for those who have that ask me about they have the mucus, the babies have the mucus, or they wake up in the morning and they have the mucus in the eyes. I almost forgot. I didn't forget you. I told you I wasn't going to forget you. Don't forget to rinse your eyes out in the morning. Remember we talked about using a little bit to distill, make sure, and you know my thing, distilled water is the cleanest water. Take the distilled water and put like the Himalayan salt, boil it together, let it get real hot, almost to a boil, and then you're going to put your, and let it cool just a minute, just less than a minute, till it just roars down. And then you can put a little bit of your Himalayan salt or your sea salt in it. And then what you do is, like I said, let it cool down a little bit, and then once it cooled down just a little bit to just hot, instead of boiling, you're going to boil this distilled water, then you're going to put the your Himalayan salt and or sea salt in there, because remember we said that the salt, we have our liquid that washes away your toxins and stuff. Remember we talked about too the infection, the viruses, eyes, ears, nose, and throat. The viruses go in from your eyes, not just your nose, not just through your, when you talk, your mouth, your respiratory, but it goes through your eyes. Remember we talked about that. Look at the other episodes, about 3 episodes before, 4 episodes was it? But look at that, and then after you look at that, you'll see what we were talking about, how you can take that and you're going to let it cool off, make sure it's cool. And you can strain it, get you a coffee filter, and you can filter out everything else. And once you filter it and then put it in your body, you can keep it, because you know salt doesn't go bad. Himalayan, and it has all those different minerals. The reason why I say Himalayan salt and or sea salt, it's packed with different minerals that the body really needs. So you're going to do that, and you're going to strain it. Once you strain it, you can use it to cleanse the eyes. Remember we said you could use like a shot glass or an eye wash glass, and you're going to wash and you're going to hold it up, exercise your eyes back and forth. And I'm going over this because you guys, it's all about you. So when you contact me and you say, Emma, how do we this, even though, and I'm directing you back to the other episodes, you can get there. And when you lift it up, you're going to see all these different stuff, all this stuff that comes back, and you're going to see it in the cup, in the bottom of the cup. So this is one way to clean it. And then what we do in the mornings, like, you know, I do this little, I shouldn't say ritual, but schedule.
Your routine.
My routine. And when we do the routine, I just do that, and then sometimes we'll have colloidal silver, because colloidal silver is a clean. You say, Emma, you put colloidal silver in your eye? Just a little bit of dab on the Q-tip. And all those areas where you did not, and remember, the colloidal silver is an antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal colloidal silver. Don't forget that. Remember, look at the other episodes where I showed you all about colloidal silver. and just take the little bit on the Q-tip and just wipe the rest of it away. And it'll keep your eyes clear from those little floaties and from that infection and whatever that's out there. So when you go out there around others, you'll know you'll be that much ahead. Don't forget, you can clean your sinuses out with the colloidal silver. Remember, we had that on one of the other episodes. And it's also good for a lot of respiratory situations. So that was the answer to your question, love. So I hope that did answer that. Let's get on something. Let's get on, and I'm going to hurry. I'm not going to be long today. I always say that all the time. You know I get that from my teacher. Daniel Solomon. I made a few little notes for us today because one of my babies was asking, and shout out to my love. And I hope this answers some of your questions. We're going to talk first about when people say baths, they don't do baths. And I'm like, well, when do you soak your muscles? And why is it that your muscles are hurting? Your muscles are hurting because you need to relax your muscles in this hot water. My husband, they used to go into the mountains, into their mountains, and they would have this hot water coming through. Like they have in Israel, they have this Dead Sea salt. It's the Dead Sea. And they would be able to float on top. But in Mexico, they have this place where they go up, where they used to have it, because of all the modern things that they've done. Now, he said they used to go and soak in the hot water coming down from the mountains. A hot spring, yeah. And they have those in and that's why the one in Arkansas is so popular, because they go and they rejuvenate their muscles. And this is the minerals. Do you know, let me say this to you before I go to that part. Do you know there's over 300 and something different types of minerals in Epsom salt by itself? What? Yes. It even helps the brain. Mineral. Do you know one of the things that's so, and I'm going to get to my list, but do you know one of the things that we are so depleted of, and that's magnesium in our bodies? We wonder, why do our muscles hurt, and why is this, and why are we so? It's because of magnesium. If you do a test, remember I told you all about doing a test of the iodine, and I was telling you all, if you're iodine deficient, take some iodine, and I showed you the Lugol's, and then I showed you Lugol's iodine, which is some things that we're also depleted in, like vitamin D's. Right. And so one of the minerals is, and remember I told you I'll take the Lugol's iodine and put it on the skin, and if it lasts so long, it tells you how much depleted you are. If it's within an hour, remember the Lugol's is depleted, so I mean the iodine, you're iodine deficient when it doesn't even last an hour. You put it on there, what you're gonna do, you put it on your skin. And when you put it on your skin, you're gonna put it on this part. And when you put it on there and rub it in like this, on this part of the inside of the arm, you take your iodine and you rub it this part, and if it only lasts within an hour, that means that you're really depleted in iodine. So you need the good iodine. I say go with the Lugol's. That's one of the name brands. I don't do more about the name brand.
Don't worry about the brands as long as you have the product itself.
As long as you have the pure product itself. Make sure it's the pure product. And iodine was one of the reasons why they say that about Alzheimer's or eyesight or respiratory issues. Iodine will boost your immune system. It will help fight the viruses. So we're just talking about some things about iodine, but go back on the other episodes and hear the things where we talked about iodine, and we're going to go again and we're going to talk about what happens when you're iodine deficient, which is a lot of the time when our Hebrews are going through different issues. You want to check your iodine levels. But time for another short. And then also the same thing with magnesium and manganese. And one way of soaking to get your magnesium in your body is to soak in it. The easy, fast way of doing it. So that's why they used to have my grandmother when she was young. She would always tell us, I'm gonna go get me some Epsom salt. I'm gonna put it in my bath water, and I'm gonna soak, and Grandma will be fine. And I'd say, okay. So, but I didn't think about that until I was thinking about one of my babies, and she was saying that what can she do to soak and relax and helps her sleep. Do you know Epsom salt, which is a magnesium, will help you rest better? One of those, how about that? Help you rest better. And it's not only because it goes straight to the, there's a spray that I used to have from Mr. And it was a magnesium spray, the magnesium salt spray. And I would put it on his muscles, and within a couple minutes, it would rub in through, and it would work. You had a question before I went on. What was your question? What were you about to say? You had your hand up.
That was a while back.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to call back. Oh, I was just going to comment on the vitamin D and whatnot. Now they were saying that a lot of people that have been susceptible to the coronavirus were vitamin D
Deficiency. Yes. Vitamin D. Remember, family, look at one of the other episodes when we were talking about the deficiencies of vitamin D. Vitamin D, actually, our bodies will absorb. That's why we absorb the sun so fast, and because the melanin. When we are having a vitamin D deficiency, it opens up deficiencies like sicknesses. You don't have anything to fight with it, because iodine will help fight against that, because once it's in our bodies, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. As a matter of fact, what we do, I make sure that we have our vitamin D and our iodine in our bodies. Like I said, we're not going to tell somebody he's in his 70s. Not, at least I didn't say how far 70s. But so what we make sure that he does, and make sure he has vitamin D, because it helps with the bones. Vitamin D helps with the bones and the muscles. Another thing, when people say, oh, I just hurt. Why do I just hurt? Check your vitamin D level, your iodine levels, your magnesium. These are just essential elements that are needed by the body, just by the body. So family, I want to make sure you're aware of that. And these things, I mean, this will boost your immune system, because it goes straight to the body, it goes straight to the muscles, and it kicks out toxins. So we're going to talk about that. And if you have any questions, just come on in to the class. Thank you for those who are coming in late. I love you. Thank you for coming. But you can prevent, a lot of people, here's another thing. A lot of people say, another way that you know that you might want to check your magnesium levels, when you have issues with athlete feet. Because you can soak it, and in other countries they use Epsom salt to treat athlete fungus in the body. How about that? What treats fungus in the body? A lot of people, sometimes they'll use Epsom salt, and they put a little bit, shake it really well, but don't put a whole lot in there. But they'll rinse their hair. They'll put a little bit of Epsom salt in their scalp, and it helps with the fungus. And some people say that the reason why their hair was growing because of the Epsom salt, because it was getting rid of the fungus out of their hair. Something as simple. These are simple things, family. Oh, I started to finish saying. My grandmother was saying about, she said once she soaks in the Epsom salt, she's going to be fine. And she would have little issues with her feet, with her muscles and all that. And when she would come out, she'd be just as perky and just as, because the Epsom salt, how it goes, it soaks into your skin. And some people, oh, another thing she did, I almost forgot. She had a splinter, you know, in her hand, in her fingers, because the way she would work in the garden and stuff like that. And she would take it and she would soak her hand, or that particular area, just soak her hand in Epsom salt. Well, guess what? The Epsom salt, because of the magnesium, the Epsom salt pushed the splinter out and then helped with the skin. And it brought the skin back. The inflammation was gone back away, and it withdrew, and it pushed the splinter out. So that's one way that you can, just a cheap, easy, if you got a splinter, mix in some cold water, family, and mix in some, or either warm, it doesn't matter. Make sure it's not hot. But if you have a splinter or your babies have a splinter in the skin, and then mix it in really well, and if you're gonna use like a cup, put about, if you're gonna put in like a small cup size, like about this size of a cup, and you're just gonna do that, you can take about, my Nana just poured, so about eye level, I'd say about a third of a cup, and put it in water like this, and put that in the water and let it dissolve really, really well, and stick your hand in there. And it pulled the splinter out in about a little while. When I was having a few little issues at one time, I remember I put my hand, I had little issues with my hands. They would hurt, or I had issues with what some people might call carpal tunnel, where it would just throb and things like that. It's time for another story, and I'll tell you about that. But it would stop the pain, literally stop the pain. But anyway, that's what's and I started to say also that when I was using Epsom salt in certain people that had fungus, nail fungus. If you have nail fungus, you could just soak your hands in Epsom salt 2 to 3 times a day, two to three times a day, and it'll pull it out. It's good for sprains. If you have a sprain, we already talked about that. It will ease gout. For those that are dealing with gout, we know that you can soak in Epsom salt, and it eases the gout because it's putting over 300 and some odd different minerals back into the body, and it eases gout. It makes it a lot easier, along with your tart cherry juice, concentrated. You can do that. And it flushes. Now, be aware of this, family. If you are on any kind of medication, it'll flush the medication out. Just 2 to 3 tablespoons. If you just soak with it, it pushes some of that medication out. And this is wonderful. Another note. You can do it as a family. Now, another thing you can do, if you're having issues with certain ladies, we know this part. If we're having issues with our need to exfoliate the back of our legs next to our buttocks, or under on our elbows or our knees, take a little bit of that, a little bit of Epsom salt, and in the water, let it dissolve a little bit. Some people don't let it dissolve, they just mix it in with olive oil, and you can exfoliate that part that needs to be exfoliated, and the skin comes out really clean. Now, I normally do both. I'll exfoliate that part back of my leg, or my knee, and on my knees and my elbows. But I'll also take the lemons that I had, and I use. So one way you can use the peels of the lemon, and I love this. Y'all, I love lemons and limes. I thought you ought to know that. It's a good thing. And you know, parsley is my favorite, so another thing on that. But anyway, you can take that and you let it dissolve, and you can mix it in with olive oil. Now, you can also let it, use it as an exfoliant. So you can take it, but make sure when you rub it in really good while you're in the tub, you're gonna make sure you don't do it too hard because you don't want to scrape it, but you take it and put olive oil in there, and you can exfoliate a lot of times, and it's good for the skin. Now, because it's good for the skin, remember, it cleanses and it massages. So that's one way you can do that. But I only do about 10 minutes, and you can even, sometimes I'll just do the exfoliation with the olive, and I always tell you all my secrets. Why is that? Tobias, let me know when my time is up. And I'll exfoliate with my lemons, my Epsom salt, and I'll put a little olive oil. And sometimes not only will I take my, after I do the bath, I'll take my, when you cut the lemon in half, you could, and you used it, it's already used, you could take it and treat it like, you know, like a suction. Put a suction on there, and it'll suck in, squeeze it, and put it as a suction on your elbow or your knees or your foot part. where you want to foliate, and you can do that. And when you do that, it comes clear. So but don't do it when you're gonna go straight to the sun. When you go to the sun, you don't want that because it's the acidy part. So you can do it that way, and put it on there and let it set. And when you finish, just rinse it off. So a lot of times, what I started doing for Mr. one time was I would put it, let it suction, the lemon or the lime suction on his elbows where he had the issues, psoriasis. By the way, Epsom salt is good for psoriasis. And you can put that on there and let it set. And let it set until it begins to fall off with a suction. It won't suction, hold the suction. And so put it on there and let it set. And it gets rid of the hard bumpy parts. You know those hard bumpy parts on the skin? You can do that. And it just works really, really, really well. So, or you can take the juice of the lemon and put it with the Epsom salt and with the olive oil and just rub it in. This is exfoliating. So you can do it that way. And then make sure you rinse it off, fam. Make sure you rinse it off. So my thing was this. With the bath, there's over 300 different minerals that the Epsom salt has for this. I'm not going to go through all. We'll be touching in on the different things. Family, don't forget you can put Epsom salt around the food pan and you can clean it that way. But Epsom salt is like I said, 300 and some odd minerals. And I'm getting and I love that. But if you want to really do something else, that take it to another level, Dead Sea salt. Man, family, now, baby, when you're using the Epsom salt, and I can be long-winded, so I'll hurry. When you're using the Epsom salt and you're soaking, that Epsom salt will relax you so well, and it pulls all those toxins out, and it acts as a relaxer. It'll relax you to the point whereby when you mix it in with lavender. Some people say, well, Ima, why can't I go to the store and get that, what's that, Mr. Teal? I think it is Mr. Teal, and put it in and use that as an Epsom salt. And can I put a little extra Epsom salt in there with the Mr. Teal with the lavender and all that? Yeah, you can if you want to. But it's you can do either way. Get the ones that smell really good with the lavender and all that in it. Epsom salt. I think it's lavender and eucalyptus with it. And you can mix that and you can soak that in. Not only will it make your skin feel so good, but it relaxes you and it helps your muscles relax. And it's good for the brain. But like I said, we're going to go on an episode on all the things that the Epsom salt will do. But you want to do a boost, baby, with the Dead Sea salt. Oh, now keep in mind, Dead Sea salt is expensive. It's not Epsom salt is cheaper, but the Dead Sea salt is expensive. But it's worth it. But you have to do it. Don't do as much of that as. That was something I was going to tell you about. What was it? You can. Yes. You can take Epsom salt and just like Dead Sea salt, you can use this too, and you can dissolve it and take those patches for those ladies. To your question, you asked that question too about what can I put around my eyes? Yes, you can put it around your eyes, fam. And just let it hold it in on a clean towel. Let it soak in and hold it. And it gets rid of the puffiness from your eyes, from around your eyes. And it gives you that rest. So, enough of my ranting about the different things of Epsom salt. But I want to do, I had another thing that I was going to tell you about. What was the question? Other things about your Dead Sea. So there was another question that you asked, and if you're listening, baby, and you know that without giving your name, there's another thing that you asked me about what I would do. So I'm here to say one of the things that it improved. Oh, let me tell you this. Epsom salt improves. I keep thinking of stuff like this, but Epsom salt. You know what? Let me tell you this. it helps your, strengthens your skin. You know, it's like one of those anti-aging type of things, fam, where you say, oh man, I'm getting a little saggy around here. I'm getting a little saggy around here. I'm getting saggy. Mix the Epsom salt with Dead Sea salt. Oh my King and Creator. And you can put it in, it helps with circulation. It puts the circulation back in. You could take Epsom salt and you can put it in your, in a foot, and this is what we used to do, we still do at home, in your foot bath. Do you know you can do that and you can soak that in with your foot bath and you can bring circulation from the feet all the way up, man, and cleanses it pulls the toxins out and it helps the brain, it helps your tissue organs, it helps all those wonderful internal organs, just Epsom salt, because it pulls the toxins out and it replenishes it with minerals that we normally need. So I wanted, before I went there, I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that. Also, it improves circulation, blood pressure, it lowers the blood pressure and all of that. This is just for soaking for 20 minutes to 30 minutes. Put your praise tape on, or listen to a little bit of praise and in the tub while you're soaking. And it does all this, and then by the time you get out of that tub, Mister's always ready to sleep. I mean, before his head hits the pillow, he's asleep. And this is something that you might want to add. And it's wonderful for any type of, it's one of those restorative type of things, family. So I was just saying, I can rant a little bit longer, but just to answer the baby's question, I want to make sure, and remember this, in the days of, you know what they used to do in the Dead Sea salt, and they would look and said, oh, how can these people build all these wonderful things? When they saw the people floating above and you can Google it, when they saw the people floating above the water, and it looked like mud far off, but it wasn't, it was just, they were like, what is this? We want some of this. Well, let me tell you this. Now, not only, this one is just 300 some odd, but this goes further in minerals. Now, do not drink this. You can take this, but don't drink this. You can take this, you can use it as a laxative, Epsom salt as a laxative. I forgot to tell you, you can use it as a laxative. You can soak in it, all of that. But if you do it as a laxative, family, and I know there are some people that are listening, that you say, Emma, what can I use as a laxative? You want to be careful because you want to respect your herbs and your minerals. So don't do it anymore because you don't want your body to be dependent on the laxative. You want it to do itself. But these are one of the things you can use as a laxative, but only do it once a week, every second or third day, maybe, and then do it for 2 weeks, every other third day, and then off. And then you can go. But one of the easier things to do is do your flaxseed, family. Flaxseed, your chia seeds, during this time, you want to make sure your bowels are spread, and those things that you can use often. They're the tiny seeds. Remember, the smallest things the smallest things are the powerful and giant packages. But, I was trying to say, they were floating in all of this minerals and stuff like that. And they were like, as a matter of fact, there was something I was reading years back, double check me, fam, but I think it was, they say Cleopatra, we say it was Queen of Sheba. She got the rights for the Dead Sea, and it was all about beauty. And that girl, if you read some of the things on, is there somewhere in there, Tobiah, where they were talking about the beauty of Queen of Sheba? In there somewhere about the beauty, about how beautiful she was and all of that. Okay, and then he gave her a gift.
Yes.
And some of those gifts that he gave her was some of the minerals from the Dead Sea salt. It's the Dead Sea, which is the Dead Sea salt. And that was some of the things. Baby, this Dead Sea salt is no joke. But remember, we said don't drink it, soak a little bit in it, but you can drink some of the Epsom salt. But remember, if you're gonna use this, love, my babies, the best way to get it in your body, in your system, is to soak in it. It's just as good. So we wanna do that part. And let me say this to you. They used to use it, and she would put it on her body. A lot of times they use the Dead Sea salt for youth. And they found this, they would, same thing as the, in Arkansas, where they talked about the springs, but this is better. This is 1,000 times better. But this is the Dead Sea salt. And you could float, it has packed with minerals. And when they walked out of the Dead Sea, they were so light, but so energetic and so healing. It's so healing, so filled with healing. So I just wanted to put that out there. Family, I'm not gonna hold you long because I can rant. And you all know I can. But I'm not gonna hold you long. I'm just gonna tell you on this to answer. I just wanted to answer a few of the questions that one of my babies were asking. And while you're in your tub, baby, what you can do, get you some rose water and spritz it around. Oh, by the way, rose water is an antibacterial, antifungal. Rose water, I use rose water a lot. But it kills, when I don't use the cinnamon, you all know I'm smelling like roses. So, and other herbs, of course. But the rose water is an antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral rose water. Oh, baby. Remember I told you all in one of the other episodes, I was telling you that my babies, I was spent time a little bit in Texas, and I got them hooked on rose water, drinking it. But be careful of which one it is. Make sure it's pure, make sure it's with the distilled water, and that's all is in it, and make sure you can drink that, because not all rose water is created equal. And if you can do that, and you can spritz it on the hair, it gets rid of fungus, bacteria in the hair and the scalp, plus it heals and strengthens the hair follicles, makes the hair follicles stronger, keeps it from breaking, and right on down the line. This is roses. We're talking roses, babies. But you can spray that, and it kills, like I said, viral infections. You can spray it in the room, and while you're doing your bath, spray a little roses. But I want you, it will, if you're not tight, really, really tight, it will perk you up a little bit. But you want to really watch for those two also. So these are just some viral things that you can a natural viral things that gets rid of the viruses and bacteria and things in the air. And I'll always make sure that you all are aware of these, just simple things like these. Be aware that this Ema loves you, and I think you are awesome. I agree with the Father. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and stay away from those processed foods. Please. And my baby that's out there that always hooks up his mom and dad saying, Ema Barbs says, the one that's 12 and under. He always says, Ema Barbs says you can't do this. Yes, you are right. Your Ema Barbs thinks you're wonderfully and fearfully made. I agree with the Creator. All about the kingdom. We're all about the kingdom, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm thankful that the Father put you in my life. You fulfilled a desire I've had for over 40-something years, and I'm thankful for the Father. If you have any questions, please hook me up. That's what I was looking for. Hook me up in my Gmail, EmaBarbsHealthCorner.com. Is that it? EmaBarbs?
Yes, ma'am.
Healthcorner at gmail.com. I love it. I love it. I love it. Please continue the questions coming in. Remember, your Time Tea, family, your Time Tea for your sore throat, for the different viruses. Remember, Time Tea is an antiseptic, it's a disinfectant, and you can actually drink it, but you can put it over your food. And you can kill some of those bacteria. You can spray it in the air if you like the smell of the fragrances of thyme like I do. You can spray it in the air, and it kills viruses and bacteria. Some natural thing that the Father have. You don't have to drink bleach. Just saying. The thyme is a natural disinfectant. It's a natural antiseptic that you can bring in. You can spritz on your face. Plus, it's good for the hair. Oh man, and good for the skin. But we want to go, and don't forget your tea tree oil, family. Don't forget your tea tree oil. Put it on your little, if those are the, with your mask, you can put a drop on your mask, and you can be smelling that as you go through good fragrances. Or you can put a little tea tree oil on your clothing, on the part of your clothing, and then just smell it. And so go right on. You are good. And this, and also, did you know thyme is a good, and I'm almost done. I promise. Thyme is also an alkaliner. What? Thyme is a wonderful alkaliner. Your ginger, don't forget your ginger, is an alkaliner. Your onions, your parsley, your cilantro, your fennel. These are alkaline herbs, family. Alkaline, we're going to keep our bodies highly alkaline, and we love it. We love it. Remember, the highest alkaline will be the lime, and how you want to mix it in. You can use your lemon as a cleanser, but the highest alkaline is the limes. And this email thinks you're wonderful. I love you. Blessings on your day. Blessings on your week. I speak healing, health, wholeness, and soundness. I agree with the Father. Healing, health, wholeness, and soundness to you and your household. We're one. And without you, we all each other got. We are all each other has. So blessings. Thank you for coming in to the Health Corner today. Come back to me next week in the class, and we're going to answer some of your other questions and add some to some more. I love you. Blessings on your week. Mwah. Ema Barb, love you.